Joining us now, political commentator, syndicated columnist, author of the new book, Adios, America, the left's plan to turn our country into a third world hellhole. Ann's book hit #2 on the New York Times list for its first week out. Great to have you here. This is your best book ever.
Thank you. I agree.
It is. I thought I'm delighted to hear that, because I have to tell you, no one is funnier. All I could think of is I want everyone to read this book. And the title, Adios, America, says, exactly what it's about. But the fact is, the illegal immigrants should not read the book, because I think they will self-deport after they read this. That's how persuasive I think.
Yes, they will.
So let's turn to, first of all, one of my favorite headings here. I don't know how I could have forgotten the headline.
Body.
Headless body found in borderless country. And it just keeps getting better, folks. Beheadings in the Arizona desert. Governor Jan Brewer of Arizona, made fun of for her reference, and then the heads began to roll.
Yes, within 3 months, Jan Brewer, the governor of Arizona, said, we're finding body parts in the Arizona desert, and Washington Post, Salon, MSNBC every single night, sneering, she's crazy, there hasn't been no dismemberments. Within 3 months, there was a Mexican dismemberment in the Arizona desert. Soon after that, there was one a little bit north of that, a woman who was beheaded, presumed definitely the one in Arizona was done by Mexicans. In another state, a woman was beheaded, assumed to be by a Mexican cartel. And then just, by coincidence, I came across a beheading of Mexicans, all illegal immigrants in this case, beheading 3 children near Baltimore. And
I am so delighted that you take up the issue of Teddy Kennedy. And people, I don't think, know this part of the history, and it's laid out so brilliantly by Ann Coulter in her book. The role of Ted Kennedy in the 1965, not the 1995, the 1965 immigration law that turned American immigration policy upside down.
Yes.
And not to good effect.
Not to good effect at all, unless you're a Democrat, a left-wing Democrat, not one of the old-style Democrats. And part of what's important about that is you always hear people, talking about their grandfathers who came in at Ellis Island and, weeping. No, the pre-1970 immigrants were a whole different order of business from the post-1970 immigrants, and that was by design. Pre-1970 immigrants used to be more educated, buy more houses, had higher incomes, and by the way, 30% of them went home. Post-Teddy Kennedy's Act, starting in 1970, that's when it really started to get underway, vastly more likely to collect welfare than American citizens, why would any country bring in people who instantly need our help? No, we have our own poor people to take care of. Of course, no one goes home. They go on welfare.
And Kennedy's view, what was his motivation in changing all of this?
To change it to a population more likely to vote for very left-wing policies. The Democrats basically looked around and said, fine, America, you won't vote for us. We tried this the easy way. We're going to bring in new voters. And it's worked now that they think, maybe the Democrats think they've hit the tipping point. I don't think we're there yet. But now they're openly talking about it, how the 1965 Immigration Act was the Kennedy family's greatest gift to the Democrats. And this Roy Teixeira of Texas, a big Democratic consultant, just gloated after the second Obama's reelection. It's George McGovern's revenge.
And one of the references in which you go through part of my history on the issue, which I ask, so why are Americans being insistently told there are only 11 million illegal immigrants? That was back in 2006, in which I was citing a study by Bear Stearns in which it rose to 20 million illegal immigrants. And people, the left went nuts. The national liberal media excoriated me for that. Despite the fact it was sourced and an authoritative
and
source
clearly correct. And all they could say was, we trust the census estimates. But as the Bear Stearns guys pointed out, there was this guy, Robert Justich and Betty Ng, I think their names were, and they're advising people about something important, their money. It isn't just some nonsense census report. And
it wasn't ideological.
No, right. And what Robert Justice said is the idea that people who have trekked thousands of miles, left their parents behind, run from border guards, stolen Social Security cards, are going to accurately fill out a government survey is insane. So instead, they looked at other things like remittances of money back to Mexico, how much that went up, housing permits, graduation rates in various illegal alien hotbeds, and they estimated, and that was back in 2005, 20 million. And look, you can look at it in my book, you can look up the report yourself. I think it's far more believable than the two famous Pulitzer Prize winning journalists. You can look them up. There is like one name, Bartlett and Steele. The very next year, 2006, and they spend a year doing their investigations.
And these are investigative reporters for Time magazine.
And Vanity Fair, yeah, very famous. They concluded that 3 million illegal aliens would come in the year 2006 alone. Well, I underestimated that. Okay, let's say for the next year it's a third of that. 1 million a year. That puts us at 30 million. That is a massively conservative estimate and possibly as high as 50 million. And
now, with that 30 million, you're saying they're voting Democratic, and the Republicans are doing what? Republicans are saying, let's have amnesty, because otherwise they're not going to vote for us. Oh. Is there some part of the syllogism I missed in the Republican?
No, how did Republicans end up on the wrong side of, shouldn't the Democrats be given 30 million new voters?
Right.
I mean, look, this is the kind of stupidity Republicans have engaged in before. I think it's possible to shake them out of it. As I recall, the Republican Party was once the party of abortion, once the party of gun control, once the party of the Equal Rights Amendment, and then the people stood...
And the Constitution. And the Constitution.
But the one politician would come along and say, no, I'm against abortion. I'm against gun control. And he would win overwhelmingly. The way Republicans win is by appealing to their base, white voters.
And that is considered a radical view.
Yeah.
Because, wait a minute, Hispanics are voting Democratic. Anyway, you do not want to miss reading this terrific. It is a compendium of all knowledge, basically, and the most important information and thinking on the issue of immigration in this country and the impact on the country's destiny. You've got to read it. And I recommend it to you highly. Adios, America. We can be saying, welcome back, America, if you read it, and a few million other folks, too. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations. Your best book ever, I think. And it's funnier than hell, if you've got a sense of humor.
Thank you.
Because she sure brings great wit. Ann Coulter, thank you.
Thank you.